Hi guys, welcome to Throzone.com. This is Mohit Soni, and right in front of you is not the Vitara Brezza. This is the Toyota Urban Cruiser. Yes, we've already shown you a front of this car. Finally, we are driving it. But how does it look in the real world like this? And what the Urban Cruiser has to offer? Let's find out. What you can see in the front is, of course, the Maruti badge is replaced with the Toyota. There is this grille pretty much remains the same, but it's the bumper below that has changed. And but the headlamps and the fog lamps are similar to the Vitara Brezza. And what you can see here is twin projector setup with LED lights. LED lights at the below as well for the fog lamp. So that's quite premium, quite good. These are, of course, the alloy wheels. Slightly different, good looking alloy wheels. And that is the side profile. Again, very Vitara Brezza. We are well aware of how the car has always looked like, and the proportions are quite nice, really good. At the back, same set of tail lamps, and they look really good, illuminated, and the way the boxy design has been done for these particular units here. Of course, the Toyota badge, the Urban Cruiser badging, which is quite loud, quite bold, sitting on the chrome strip. And that's how you open the boot. Almost 400 liters, really good. Full size spare wheel here, and some other storage related to that can be seen there. You've got parking sensors, reversing camera, 16-inch alloy wheels, and overall a very handsome, good looking car. This is the dual tone version, so the cap mirrors here are white, the roof is white, but it's got this grey roof rail along with black accents on the window. Then you've got a cladding that runs around. So overall, we love this design. We know it's been great for Maruti, and it works in the same way for Toyota as well. This time there is a bit of effort in the front from Toyota to distinguish it even better, and I think that has paid off really well. Now let's jump into the interior. Keyless entry and go. Getting inside the all black interior, as you can see, nothing much has changed. You got these slightly dark chocolate brown-ish seats, height adjustable seat, height adjustable belt, and start stop button along with auto start stop. And let's start up the car. Those are the dials, and as we know, the moment you click it like that, twist the knob here, you can go through all the various colors. And let's leave it at blue. So the moment you're done with choosing the colors, you can use the same stock here, as you can see, to go through average fuel economy, range, constant fuel economy, and these are the fuel efficiency parameters basically. And on this side, as you can see, I can see the trip and the odometer is permanently displayed here. That is, a lot of people ask, that is the battery key. So the key fob also has its own cell, so that lets you know whether that has enough battery or not. That is the engine light, fuel gauge, and this is the, of course, the temperature gauge here. Coming to the head unit, it's an Apple CarPlay, Android Auto supportable unit. Of course, it's not wireless yet, but it seems pairs really nicely. It's a seamless integration. Sound system is good for a car of this size and price, but slightly better was expected. As you can see, everything works smoothly, very nicely. That's the switch off button, that's the power on off button, along with mute and power volume increase. This is how you start it again. Then you go into music. You can see all the options here that are given. Going to the home screen, you can see it's showing the average mileage, so that is something that Indians always look forward to. And that's the AC controls here. Of course, it's got a climate control. That's the automatic gearbox. You've got some space here, 12-volt socket for this, an aux port, a USB charger, cup holders here, can holders, whatever you like to call it. Space below the center armrest. Glove box 1, glove box 2, both normal in size, not entirely big. And yeah, that's the interior. Quality, as always, is not that impressive for a car of this price, but then again it's not bad either. It's something that looks nice, feels good enough, but it isn't something that you expect from a car of this category, because the benchmark has been raised by other manufacturers. And yeah, let's go into the back of the car and show you what kind of space do you have with my driving position. Yes, very good knee room, very good leg room. As you can see, I have a lot of space to move around. Middle row seat is also impressive. Again, this car of this price and size does not get an AC vent, but the AC works quite well at the front. Cabin light not here, again here in the middle, so not that impressive. But you've got adjustable headrests for both sides, of course not for the third passenger. What you get here is a can cup holder here. That is it. That is the door pad. You can just keep a liter bottle here rather easily. And you've got this hook here where you can max 8 kg it says, so that's what you can hang here, and so that your grocery bags and other things don't get tossed around in the back while you're cornering hard, even if you manage to do so. So that is the interior and exterior of the Toyota Urban Cruiser. What is it like to drive? Well, let's find out. So finally we are behind the wheel of the Toyota Urban Cruiser, and what is it like to drive? Well, we've done with the automatic, we're done with the manual. We all know there's going to be only one engine, the 1.5 litre, which makes 105 PS of power and 145 Newton meters of torque. It's mated to a 4-speed automatic and a 5-speed manual, and yes, both the gearboxes lack the amount of ratios that you need in today's driving. But then again, today's driving is all about getting stuck in city traffic, and the 4-speed automatic, let's get to that first. It's a smooth, fast, almost seamless shifting gearbox. There's no real worries with it. Only the fact that it would have been much better on the highway when it comes to fuel economy. But then fuel economy is such a big issue right now that Maruti, the guys who engineered this car, think that they can meet all emission norms, fuel efficiency norms with these gearboxes. So that's great. But then again, as an enthusiast and as a commuter, I would think that more speeds are always welcome. It could have been even more efficient, which it already is right now. The automatic delivered us 10 to 11 kilometers per liter, and manual delivered 13 to 14. So I think that's pretty fantastic. But one more speed in the manual and 2 more speeds in the automatic would have made a lot of difference in the way how highway fuel efficiency would have been. But then again, these cars, despite SUVs and now with the lack of diesel engine, they have become more city oriented, getting stuck in traffic, being easy to drive with good low end and mid-range performance. That's what the Urban Cruiser has here. It doesn't lack any sort of pep that you need in the city, so that's good. Top end is also good. It does hold 120, 130 on the highway quite well. That's not going to be a problem. While we drove, we didn't find any lack of performance. But of course, since it's a petrol and it doesn't have the diesel push that we all are acquainted with the shove, the torque that we always are used to. But then again, like I said, these cars are mostly meant to be in the city. They end up being in the city, so that's great. Of course, if you are hellbound on diesel, you will have to get something else like a Tata Nexon or a Kia Sonet. But and those are actually quite fun diesel motors. But I think the petrol here is fantastic. It's a naturally aspirated motor, and what we're driving right now is the manual. Of course, the automatic also had the same engine. We quite enjoyed it. But hustling a 5-speed manual gearbox with a naturally aspirated engine is also something that you don't get on an everyday basis. We're driving cars with CVTs, automatics of all sorts, with turbos, and we kind of miss this hustle that you get to rev the engine, hear the engine sing even louder. But then again, this BS6 version also has been tamed down a bit, and it's not the K series that we are used to, but then again, it still has some character left, so you will be quite happy given the fact that it meets emission norms. It's going to meet all the fuel efficiency parameters, which it already does, and it will do ahead as well. So this car should last long in your garage, given scrappage policy that is now being tabled. And what else can we tell you about it? We've told you about the fuel economy, and we've told you this engine is practical, tractable in the city, on the highway. But we can tell you right now is the steering. It's a bit of a disappointment. It doesn't have any sort of feedback. At high speed, it doesn't even tell you what it's doing quite well. So going through high speed corners is something that is, you'll have to play safe. You can't behave as if you're on a track, and you will have to be a little bit more mindful about that thing. And but it's light in the city where you will spend most of your time. The gearbox is also light, the clutch is also light, so it's a very easy car to drive within the city along with the tractable engine. Brakes, it's good, but in very high speeds and coming to a halt from very fast speeds, I think a bit more power would have been required. I think the bite is satisfying, but I think a bit more power would have been much more better. Like, let's say bigger disc or bigger drums at the back would have been ideal, or some other way to make sure that you get a lot of boost from the brakes. Body roll, it's there, but it's well in check. We all know the Brezza was great to drive, and this is also no exception. There is very little body roll to be to be surprised with, and it's a able handler. It can take a lot of beating, and that's what makes the urban cruiser here also a car to live with on a daily basis. Of course, our roads are getting better, but not in a lot of in every part of the country. All metro cities are going through a dramatic change, but there are still very large amount of bad roads we still have to deal with, and it can take a lot of beating. It feels like a solid tough car. Now I know why Toyota has chosen a couple of cars, and they will choose many other cars from the Maruti range to rebadge, is because it fits the Toyota ethos really well, because it's a fuss-free, no nonsense car. It feels quite robust, made inside and out, and it doesn't go against the Toyota ethos to a very large extent. And I think that's the reason why they have gone ahead, bought these cars in the Indian market, selling it, and they are selling it at a premium, which is something is not going so well with customers. I know a lot of people who want to buy these cars, but they're saying they're a little bit too expensive over the rivals and over the cars that let's say over the Brezza, to be very specific. And the rivals, of course, it doesn't have that many features. It is a little bit expensive, but then Toyota will give you a premium experience at the showroom, at the service. That's what they're planning, that's what they promised. And we all know the Toyota service is definitely much better in certain areas, and that's where you will quite like the Toyota Urban Cruiser despite the slight premium. You will like it because it's very simple, easy to live with. It has a no-nonsense character, and that's what will help you commute and do some trips around in a very easy, fuss-free manner. That's what the Urban Cruiser is all about. The manual and the automatic, and what we can tell you, they're all easy to drive. They are fun to drive to a very large extent, and we'll let you know more about it. That's it. Thank you so much for watching our video. Make sure you like it, share it. Still have some questions, put them in the comment section below, and follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.